All right, what's good, everybody? So today I have my man Jacob in the chair. We're just gonna do a number 3 on top with a skin fade. But I want to give a shout out to Nello, the creator, for sending me just the modifications for these JRL clippers. So on this JRL clipper, I actually have the Fade Master blade with the Fade Master cutter. On this one, I have the Fat Master blade with the Master cutter as well. So anyways, I seen that he created these and I was like, dude, I have to have these for my JRL. So I put the Fat Master on there and I put the Fade blade on there. So pretty much I'm gonna use these 2 clippers. I may use my S.Craft Instincts as well right underneath these, just so that way, you know, usually with the Fat Master, with the Fade blade and with the regular Master taper blade, you don't need any guards. You can just move right through the haircut with no guards doing the fade. So I just want to show you this fade technique with these, show you how simple it is and how quick it is. So let's go ahead and jump into this cut. All right, so what I like to do with my guards is not just go over the head. I'm real particular about all the little hairs sticking up. So basically, whenever we go over the head with the number 3, what I like to do is take my comb actually with the small end, and I just like to lift that hair and kind of follow the comb with the clippers. So that way we just make sure, and you can go through first and just knock down all the bulk. And then after you knock down all the bulk, then you can go ahead and come back with that comb technique. So that way you're lifting up all the hairs to make sure you get it as clean as possible. Okay, for me, I like to go ahead and start from the top and work my way down. So that way we have a good foundation that we can fade into. I found that a lot of times if you'll do the fade first and then come back and do the top, sometimes it throws your fade off and you'll have to go ahead and do the whole fade all over again. And obviously when you're in a time crunch, that's something that you do not want to do. You want to get done as fast as possible so that way you can get your next appointment in. So I encourage you to, whether it's shears on top or a guard, go ahead and get the top down to the desired length, and then go ahead and start your fade and just fade right into the top that's already completed. All right, so instead of using my S.Craft Instincts first to create that first guideline, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna use just the regular Andis Master, but as you can see, I have just the regular taper blade on there. I'm gonna create my first guideline with that taper blade. So I'm going to start a little bit lower than his vertical bar. And we're just going to create a good clean guideline. The reason I like to come in with a clipper first is we're not punching in any hard lines. We're actually creating that first guideline, but we won't have to worry about taking any hard guidelines out. And I can always come in later with the trimmers and clean up that excess. And usually if I wasn't recording, I would like to just go ahead and create my guideline, and each step of the fade, I'll just do it all the way around the head at one time. It goes a lot quicker that way, but obviously when we're recording video, I don't want to have to keep moving the camera all the time. So I have the first guideline, we did that closed. Now I'm going to open it all the way, and we're going to create our second guideline. And I like to make several passes to create that second guideline. I like to do it in different angles, just because some of those hairs are not going to cut just going straight up against them. So if it looks a little patchy, just go at from different angles so you can actually lift those hairs up that are not being cut on that initial first pass. Just go in different angles. It'll lift that hair up and make that section look a lot cleaner. All right, now before we move to that next panel, let's just go ahead and close this halfway, and we'll drop below the line, and we'll just start, fading up about halfway. Sometimes you may have to go a little bit higher, but never go over the second guideline that we created. Sometimes you might have to go all the way up to it depending on how dark certain spots look. Don't go above the line, stay under it, but just pay attention to the colors, the shades. And if you got to come in and tap some darker shades with the corner of your blade, do that. Now I'm going to go ahead and close it, and we're just going to come in with the corner, and we're going to tap at that line, trying to take out any little dark spots that we see. And I'll come back in with another clipper or trimmer and clean that up. Like I was saying earlier, if you'll use the fade blade, the taper blade, and the Fat Master blade together, you won't even need any guards except obviously for the top. But we can take that fade blade and come in and just touch up these bottom details, you know, really cleaning up this bottom line and any little dark spots we see in that. And I want to show you more of the process, so I may not, you know, pay attention to a lot of the details right now, because I just want you to see the process of how I fade with these. Now we're going to go ahead and move over to the Fat Master blade. I'm going to start with it all the way closed. Some people ask, they say, well, what is open and close? Or how would you even know what open and close is if you don't have a lever, or you're using the lever, say like on a Babyliss FX3 clipper? Open is just the blade all the way open. It doesn't matter about the position of the lever being back or forward. When we say open, it's because the blade is fully extended, so you get more hair into it. Whenever it's closed, it's fully closed basically, so you don't get as much hair. If this wasn't a Fat Master blade, then it would be balding out, so that would be closed. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start with it closed. So this panel right here with the Master taper blade fully open is basically the same as this fully closed. So now, without no guard, we'll come in and we'll just start flicking at this and raising it up. So I may not be able to see this fade perfectly because I'm standing off to the side, trying not to get in the way of the video camera. However, I'll come back in a little bit later and check it from different angles to make sure it's blending nicely. So anyways, so I'm going up a little bit more with this thing fully closed. And what I like to do with this Fat Master blade is I like to go ahead and just almost click it one click at a time and just raise it up a little bit more. And I'm just kind of flicking at this line. Sometimes you'll need to go different angles to make sure everything below that guideline is clean and it's all, you know, pretty much the length you want it to be. But then we'll go ahead and we'll open it again, another click. And we'll just move up. It's almost like the clipper just fades itself. And even if you don't get the cleanest fade with this, what I found is it lays a phenomenal foundation, so you can come back in, say with your Masters or any of your other clippers with like a number 1, and then you just have to open or close that number 1 just to really get that good blend on it. Just to do detail work and make sure it's really clean. All right, so now we're gonna click it one more time. And we're gonna go ahead and go up just a little bit more. Now I'm probably going up about 1/4 inch, maybe even 1/2 inch each time. Imagine though, if you had this system, how fast it could be. And the reason I wanted to get this particular system from Nello was because this JRL clipper is so quiet. It's a lot more quiet than the Masters. I like the way they feel as far as ergonomics in the hand, but also what I really enjoy about these is it also has that full stretch, just like a Master clipper. Now obviously with your Instincts, your S.Craft Instincts, you could actually put the stretch bracket on and it would do the same thing. However, these JRLs, they already come with like a stretch bracket already. So now I'm going to click it fully open. Now I know that I'm fully open. I'm just gonna go ahead and, try to knock out that weight that we have at the top. Just kind of going right off the parietal ridge area. Straight up, right off the parietal ridge. And I may come down a little lower because sometimes these Fat Master blades, the way they're designed, they might miss some hair. So if I come down a little bit lower, even with it fully open, at least it'll pick up some of the hair that I might have left behind whenever I was doing previous panels. I mean, check it out. So far, that blend is coming together. We still have a little weight down here that we're going to come back and touch up, which is fine. But, I feel like we still have a lot of weight up here. So once again, fully open. I'm going to kind of just continue to go right off the head. I may kind of come in just a little bit with the round of the head to take out some of that weight. And it all depends on head shape and how it looks. But we want to make sure that this thing is just flowing. But notice, man, I didn't use any guards. And what an easy system, man. Now, I will say, these Fat Master blades are hard to come by. But I heard that Filthy Blends was actually trying to create his own Fat Master blade. Well, not, it's a Fat Master style blade. I don't know what he'll call it, but that would be phenomenal because these things are hard to come by. I found mine on Amazon. I'll try to put a link in the description. But also, they're very limited, but they are expensive too. I think one of these Fat Master blades are like over $50. I'm gonna go back to the Master blade. Once again, I'm gonna start with it fully open. I just wanna see what we're working with, if it'll catch any hair, and it is. So I'm just kind of slowly, tapping at that bottom line. I don't wanna move too quick because I don't wanna create, any patches in this blend. I may have to come back again with this after I, balled out the bottom. But man, it's real simple. And a lot of times if the customer has a beard like my man Jacob has, then I'll go ahead and usually hit the beard with that Fat Master as well. Now I'll just close this a little bit. And I'm just gonna come in. Once again, I'll have to do a good once over around the head just to check everything whenever I can actually get a better angle. I'm standing almost to the back of his head right now looking at this haircut. So I may be missing some things that you guys see on camera. And it's because where I'm standing at, it's just difficult to really see. But yeah, so now I'll just come in. I might do some touch-up work on any little dark spots that I see with just the corner of my blade. And once again, when I get in a better position, I'll go around and really, pick at it a lot more. Also, you guys know that I like to do a lot of my refining and finishing my cuts with the shear over comb technique. So I'll come back and do that as well. So now I'll just go ahead and put a little line up on the front. Right now I'm using the S.Craft sabers. And I have the blade on them, and on all my S.Craft trimmers, I have this blade on them, and this blade is the S.Craft X Pro, the gold blade, but it's the one that looks like the detailers. It actually comes on the new S.Craft Flex. This is my favorite blade by far. I just feel like I can get it to hit the way I want it to. Also, I couldn't really find it anywhere, but I did find it on Amazon, and I bought all that I could find on Amazon. So I'm sure that there's more somewhere on Amazon if you keep looking. So now I'm just gonna come down with my trimmer. The reason I like to go down with the trimmer a lot of times, I just feel like it just cuts cleaner and smoother and quicker. And there again, we want everything to be clean, smooth, but also quick, right? Look how this thing, man, cuts like butter. And some people may ask, like, so what's your favorite clipper? What's your favorite trimmer? Honestly, guys, back in the day, I used to have favorites. I will say right now, between these clipper companies, man, specifically Babyliss and S.Craft, the innovation, the competition to be better, the continual growth. It's like any clipper you pick up at this point, it's gonna be fire in my opinion. I love it. So anyways, look how clean that blend looks already without me doing any detail work to it. And that was really quick. All right guys, so we already did one side of the haircut. Now we're gonna go ahead and do the other side. So I wanna show you really quick in real time how fast this can be with, you know, you saw the steps, how I did it. Now I'm just gonna show you how fast that we can do it in a real-time setting. I've told you before, one of the things that I like to do is focus on knocking out the foundation of the haircut. We can always come back and do our finishing work, our shear over comb, or, you know, this little touch-up work, you know, to perfect the blend. But in a real shop setting where you have 30, 45 minutes to knock out a haircut, what you want to do is you want to move as fast as you can to get the bulk of the haircut done, and then use the rest of the time to just do detail work. If you knock it out, the whole fade, the beard and everything in 20 minutes, just a rough draft, that gives you 10 minutes. You know, if you only have a 30-minute appointment, it gives you 10 minutes to just sit there and detail work. But there again, I'm gonna show you really quick. I'm gonna move quick, show you how fast we can fade this side out with just these two clippers, no guards. All right, let's go. As you can see, some of this side is a little patchier, just because of the way his hair grows. But we'll go ahead and just come in, just tap at those little spots, using more of the corner. But there again, we can come in and do our detail work with a shear over comb, or, you know, whatever the case may be. But man, we laid the foundation really quick. Still some stuff I'd like to touch up back there. But once again, I'm gonna come back in with this blade fully open. Just tie these together a little bit better. And then I can just close it little by little if I need to. Because of where I'm standing, I can't really see this section where I'll tie those together. But there again, I'm standing off to the side. But you get the gist of how this can come together really quickly. Once I'm not recording, I'll go ahead and move to a better position so where I can see. Once again, man, I want to give a shout out to Nello, the creator, used to be Nello Blends, for sending me this mod, man. I love it. I'm proud of these guys that are, man, putting their time and energy into modding things out. Nello, Filthy Blends, different guys that are just trying to make things more enjoyable, more efficient for us as barbers. So now I just come in with my trimmer, throw a little line on it so we can see what we're working with. Put your picture in the frame. And I'll come in, drop lower than the fade. You don't want to get up in the fade. Let's just go ahead and drop down and knock off some of this hair. Knock that down real quick. Then we can always come in using the corner of our trimmer and just tap at that bottom line, make sure that we get that blended in nicely. So anyways, I'm gonna take a few minutes to go ahead and, you know, do my detail work and all that good stuff, and then I'll show you the final haircut. But once again, man, these blades and this system, it can put you in the game real fast. All right, guys, so as you can see, I went ahead and, you know, cleaned up his beard, added a little color enhancement to the front line up, to the top of the beard, a little bit to the back. But this is still the blend that we had earlier. I just added a little shaver on the bottom and then flicked at the bottom with the trimmer. So now, you know, I'll go in there, and as you know, I like to detail with my shear over comb technique. So if I see any kind of, I might have to turn his head so I can see a little bit better. But if I see any kind of darker spots, I just come in and I just rest my shears on the comb and I just tap in those little dark spots. Some people say, you ain't even doing anything, you're just doing that, you know, for Instagram, you know, likes or whatever the case may be. No, I am genuinely cutting stuff. A lot of people just don't have a developed eye, so they can't see what I'm cutting. But that's why I try to point things out to you. So if I see a little, so you can see dots, because that's how hair is. But I'm also not just looking at the dots, I'm looking at the gradients going across. You know, I want it to fade down, I want it to be darker to lighter, but I also want to pay attention to those dots. But I got to be careful that I'm not, you know, messing up, you know, the gradients as well that flows. I want it to be dark, a little lighter, a little lighter, a little lighter, a little lighter until it's just bald. So anyways, so I'm looking this way and I'm looking at the dots in particular. So I just come in, and the reason I do this point cutting technique is because I have more control to hit those spots. If I just go right up and make everything the same length, then what's going to happen is I'm going to continue. It doesn't matter if everything's the same length. The guards have made these the same length. It's just the groupings of his hair are thicker in some spots than others, so it gives it that darker appearance in other spots. My job is just to go in here where it looks darker, tap at those groupings, and almost like thinning shears, but I have more control with the point of the shear. But it's like thinning shears, I'm just kind of breaking up that group a little bit, and at the same time, watching the color of the gradients across there as well. Anyways, and I do that all the way around the head. When I get closer to the bottom, very carefully, might take some practice, I'll go ahead and just use my shears to do pretty much the same thing along the bottom to break up, you know, any of the line that's still there at the bottom. Some people say, why don't you just go ahead and use a trimmer or clipper? I do, but there again, I feel like I have more control with my shears. And as you can see, you know, it's coming together, and I'll do this all the way around the head. All right, fellas, I hope you like this video. Till next time, God bless you guys. Peace.